Again on Lower Campus. Here we have two of the same pine trees. This is Pinus halepensis. Pinus halepensis, the Aleppo pine. Aleppo pine you can tell from the Italian stone pine because the Aleppo pine has a very open, fluffy type shape. The Italian stone pine has more of a round shape. And out in the distance there, that big pine tree with the more round shape, that's Italian stone pine. But we're talking here about these kind of fluffy guys. Another way you could tell them apart from Italian stone pine is the needles. These pine needles are softer and they're lime green. Italian stone pine, they're a little bit more spiky, they're more stiff, and they're darker green than these guys. So again, this is this is Aleppo pine here on campus. There are male cones and then female cones in various stages. And eventually the female cones do open up and the seeds fall out. That's an open female cone. It's a pine tree, so it has needle-like leaves. So if we pull the needles off, we're going to count them to see how many there are per fascicle. Okay. See, I'm cutting. Let's see what we got here. And they're two needles per fascicle. So 2 needles per fascicle. One way you could tell these apart. And then the cones. It's also kind of a fluffy pine tree with no real discernible shape, but it's definitely not like the Italian stone pine in the distance there that's more round. And again, the needles are softer. Aleppo pine can grow 30 to 50 feet high and wide. It makes a little bit of a mess. You have pine needles, but it's a useful shade tree. Has reddish bark. Oftentimes the trees are leaning. You can see how this tree is leaning from the wind. I'll walk by this bigger one over here. Of the pine trees, these are the most drought tolerant of the pine trees that we can grow and the most desert tolerant. So they can take full on conditions. High heat, wind, arid soils. They do have edible nuts, but they're not choice. So they're not like the Italian stone pine, which has much more better edible nuts than these do. This is a good windbreak. Again, a very good desert adapted tree. Easy to grow from seed. Grows very fast. The only downside is it's a little messy. But other than that, it's a good tree. So Aleppo pine, Pinus halepensis. You'll see lots of these in the high desert.